All right, so I'm gonna just have a like raw go at it. This is gonna be personally my tier list for um, all Vampirism Beast bases in 3.7.8. So corresponding to the tier list that I made, which I'll probably have in the description for people who don't already have it. So basically, um, I'm just gonna go in order. Sorry, I'm just getting my tier list up here. Basically going to go in order. The tier list will show you, from S to F, what I think. I'm sure other humans and other players will have differing opinions. But for my point of view, like, I'm analyzing these with the view of going versus, like, a good vampire, a double, like, even double NOSF, and how, like, reliable the bases are for survival, right? Because double NOSF is immediately, if not like more than two times harder than one NOS, and you have a lot more stuff to deal with. So starting with base number one, I have this placed at B tier. This base is pretty big, good size. It's in the corner of the map. Lumber spots are all right. Um, Really, it's just mostly against double NOS. How hard it is to deal against cheese and blasting, I think, because the most important thing is to get to Spire as fast as possible and try to win the game. Um, and I think a lot of the problem with a lot of these bases is the walls being on the corner of the base. Like that's just terrible. It's actually terrible. So this first base I'm putting in B tier because it's pretty good base. But the main issue is right here. This wall spot is absolute garbage, and it's got a lot of like complexity. So it's a nice base, but anything can be hammered early. Any of your towers if you're against good vamps. Um, it's just a really difficult holding base just because of the wall placement and the tower, like the tower spots. So, because you need to put your CC and your spire and your wells. If you want them unblasted, you can't just put towers back here. You need to build stuff here and here. So it's a like B tier. So base number two, honestly, this is probably the second best base in the game. Um, it's good lumber spot, good wall spot. I'd say the only thing that makes it not S tier is the size and the fact that it's a straight walk from mid. So this is like you can build wells like here and in here, and they'll be unblastable, but you'll be bit blastable from all around. Um, Tower spots are great, wall spots great. Like it's an overall A tier base, um, A to B tier, I'd say. Um, but we're gonna put it in A for the sake of giving Mayday the benefit of the doubt that there are some decent bases. Okay. Then you have this base number three. I'm gonna say I moved it to A tier with a new tier list. Once again, it's between A and B. Good lumber spot, very good wall spot and corridor. Um, but it's very blastable. The size is a little. I mean, it is a square, and you have these like complexities, which takes away quite a bit of space. And it's got these weird like no vision spots if you don't have buildings built. So I don't know. It's just a janky base to kind of base in, but it's overall good for late game survival. But really good tower spots, really good lumber spots, just lacking space. So it's like between A and B, pretty solid base, and it has a disaster spot. That's right. That's what makes I think what bumps these up from B to A is the disaster spots. The disaster tower is just that good early game and even in the gates. So then you got base number four. I'm gonna say this is about a D tier. Um, this wall placement is bad. There's too much that can go on here with the vamps out of vision. Like maybe if their corridor was more like this, longer, it would be better. But like the wall spot's weird. It's a corner base and it's not even that big. So pretty blastable. I mean, you can get away with building stuff like here, and your wells won't be blastable. But it's got pretty good tower spots, and the lumbers whatever, lumber spots or whatever. And it does not have a disaster spot, so like any of this can be hammered. Once again, I'm gonna put it at about. You could say C, but I'm leaning towards more D tier, sort of. Maybe if this wall came out here and it was more like more squarish, it would be even better, but it's just like a difficult base. Still reliable, somewhere between C and D. Base number 5. This is the holy grail. this base is so good. You can build all of your stuff unblastable in here. I mean, it's literally just a big square with even extra space. The tower spots are amazing. The wall spot and choke is pretty good. The only thing that's bad about this base, I'm gonna say, is that it's pretty close to mid, kind of, but it really isn't. There's like a nice tricky corridor here. Like this is an amazing base. Very good. This has a disaster spot, like unblastable. Super great to base in, lots of space. So yeah, that's the best base in the game by far. And then we go to this base. It was even worse. This base was even worse on the last update before MAYDAY kind of fixed up the lumber spot. And it's so small. This base is like D tier. It's super close to mid. It does not have a disaster spot. It can be blasted to oblivion. I mean, the lumber spot's alright, but like the wall spot's okay, but it's just so close and it's just so small that it's just not even worth basing in against like good vampires. I mean, unless you're being lame and 3GMing, right? That's like the only thing it's good for, is it's like obscure location. Like no one's gonna base here. Oh wait, I can because it's terrible and the vamps won't look. Okay, this base is garbage. This base is F tier. This used to be the swastika base, but it got fixed. It got buffed, and the fact that it went from F tier before buff to F tier again after buff is kind of funny. It's too small. It's just too small. It's too small, and this wall spot is terrible. Maybe if the wall spot was here, it could go up to D tier. But then it would be even bit closer to mid. But like this is terrible. This is garbage right here. This is all hammerable. This whole base is blastable and hammerable. It's just miserable, terrible base. I mean, lumber spots, sure, it's fine, but like, lumber spots are good in basically every base. But yeah, this base is garbage. Then you have the pizza base, good old donut base. I'm gonna put it at D. Some people say it should be C. I think it's D tier. Lumber spot's okay once again. I'll just stop mentioning lumber spots because every base has a decent lumber spot, right? This wall is terrible. Like, this is garbage. This is hot trash. Immediately to here, like, look, like, what is all of this? Vampires can literally annihilate all of your base except for, like, this square right here. So whatever you don't want blasted has to go in this square. But you want to build other things in there too. Like, there's a bunch of sphere spots because it's a side base, you know, side of the map base. No disaster spot, no good tower spots, terrible wall. It's just a really tricky base. Once again, another obscure base if you're 3GMing or something, I guess. Just what it's good for. It's really hard. The towering is really hard as well for late game. Especially since it's in the corner. You like, the furthest you can build them is like a moon tower is like here, right? You're going to have a bunch of stuff. You're going to have your command center, you're going to have your beast spire, you're going to have all this stuff built. There's not a lot of towering options. And also just, like, not a great ability to spread them out so that they don't get destroyed by Mirror Shield in the late game. Then you have base number 9. Yeah, this is base number 9. This base is garbage as well. It's just because of this. This makes it terrible. And maybe if you gave it a little more space right here, it would be fine. Because then you could build some, like, actually unhammerable stuff right here. Maybe? I don't know. This is all hammerable. The only thing it's got going for it is a little bit of size, like right here. And it's like a decent distance away from middle, but this wall is garbage. Like, if a base has cornered walls, it's just bad. So this base, no disaster spot, no good tower spots. It's really tricky for the late game. And it's super close to middle. It's just not a great, pleasant base. Like, you can easily get cheesed. Like, you won't see stuff coming unless someone's based here. And, like, you know, it's only once in a while. So, once again, like, my opinion goes off of ability to survive the late game and deal with cheese, right? Or, I mean, not even necessarily cheese, like hammer and blasting. I mean, that's just, like, the vampire's ability to stunt human defenses and econ. This base, Okay, this base is like C tier. And I'm assuming it's a double base. A single. As a double base, it's like a B tier double base. I mean, it's got good size, whatever. But I mean, when you're double basing, it's a lot easier to deal with two vampires, right? But as a single base, what this base has going for it is it has two entrances, like two chokes, so you can do some, when the vampires are coming, like, and this corner wall is fine because there's trees here. Like the vamp can't just like cheese right here. Like you're gonna see everything that's happening in here, but it's pretty small. No disaster spot. Super hammerable and blastable once again, unless you build all your wells like right here. But like, how much space do you really have when you build your command center and spire and citadel and all that stuff? So, it's like a C tier. It's got this nice choke. Like I think this is the best part about it. And it's like not many sphere spots because it's close to middle. Yeah, that's what's good about it, is it's close to middle, but it's far away to get there to the wall actually. So that's what makes this base reliable at all. And it's just like, it used to be even better when it was in the bottom right at 3.3.6, but yeah, it's just like C tier. We have base number 11. So this base, the only thing that makes this base not S tier, is the size and the distance from mid. Like if this was part of the base right here, this base would be S tier immediately. I think all this would be unblastable. It has a disaster spot. The wall spot's amazing. Like great towering space. You can build all your crap in tiers back here, like CC Spire, and then leave all this for towers and workers. And yeah, this is a pretty good base. The only problem is it's pretty close to mid. So it's like, it's A to B tier just because of the size and distance to mid. I'm leaning towards more A tier. Same with the base number 3. Like these two are leaning towards A tier. This base, honestly, what do I have this at? I have this at B tier. It's almost A tier. The only problem is it's right here. It's like, honestly, it might almost be A tier. I'm not gonna lie. I might bump it up. Some more I think about it, the base is huge. You can pretty much be unblastable. Has pretty good tower spots for late game. Excellent core, like choke right here. The only problem is it's like 2 inches away from mid, and it's a inside base towards the middle, so it has less sphere spots. So this is a pretty decent base. I have it at B just because it's so close. But it does have a disaster spot. So this honestly might be more towards A tier. I don't know. It's between A and B. Pretty good base. This base is just bad. It has this choke, sure, that's fine, but it's all blastable and hammerable. Yeah, it's small. It's just very small. Tower spots are scuffed. Like you have this space for towers, but like once again in the late game when you're building like so many towers that are worth a lot, the Vamps can do like soul bomb cheese over the wall, and like you're gonna have workers here. Like where do you put your command center? Like sure, you put it here or here, and then you put your spire, I guess, but you also have other stuff you have to have placed, citadel, research, and that leaves only so much space. It's pretty small. Honestly, might even just be great to move this down, like give up a little bit of this choke for more space. That's what would make it better. But yeah, it's like at the moment it's F. Like it's F to D, I'd say. Like I don't like basing here. Like all it has is this nice choke. So I think the tier list says F tier though. This base is like C tier. It's a bait. This is a bait base. It looks like it has a disaster spot, but it's not. It needs to be like 2 more spaces back. If there was trees right here, I think it would be a disaster spot. Like the Vamps couldn't hammer it. But it's like pretty straightforward from the middle. But it's got pretty decent size, and all of this is like unblastable pretty much. And right here. But anything that's here and here is blastable, so it's a pretty abusable base and pretty hammerable as well. I think if you put it like a flame tower up here, it won't reach the wall, but it won't be hammerable. But if you put it right here, it's hammerable and it will reach the wall. I don't know. It's just a mess to try to tower with and whatnot. And dealing with cheese is pretty okay because of this right here. So it's like C tier. Like, you know, and when I say cheese, I mean like Frenchmen and meat wagons and, you know, or just other shenanigans, unholy graves, other stuff that's happening. Then we have base number, what is this, 15. This base, I put it C tier. Like, what the heck is this? Like, what is this? Might as well have just made it a square, and it would be immediately A tier, I think. You'd have all this space. Honestly, maybe more like B tier, because this wall is bad. Maybe if the... I get that the wall is like here, I guess, so that you tower share less with this space, but it's like... I don't know, man. It just happens anyway. So, I think that this wall is bad. There's no disaster spot. It's all really hammerable. Pretty blastable as well. I don't know. I think maybe you can build one line of wells right here, and it will be unblastable. I'm not sure. But all you have for unblastable space is, like, right in here. And, you know, once again, difficult to deal with stuff with cheese that can literally come from any direction. Like Frenchies and meat wagons, whatever. All that stuff. So, it's a definitely a baseable base because it's so far from mid. But it's not great for towers and late game survival, I'd say. Base number 16. Excuse me. This is honestly a decent base. It's like B tier. The north facing wall is that's what's also another bad thing is the north facing walls. That's like really hard to deal with, especially when you have God Castle walls right here and you can't even see like between your wall and the God Castle walls or whatever. It's just like such a headache microing your workers. I mean, it's doable for sure, but it's just a headache. So that's like annoying. No disaster spot. You can like I've tested. You can put a disaster spot like right here, and it will get all of these, but it's barely hammerable from here. Like just barely. From these spots. So there's no true disaster spot. So you put it one space back and it won't reach anything. Tower spot's decent because of this, but it's so blastable. The space is so tiny. You can put like stuff here and like maybe here, and it will be unblastable. But it's once again just a small base. It is straight. It is on the outer edge, but it's like it's a pretty straightforward path to mid. So it's like C tier or B tier, sorry. It could be better if this extended right here. Honestly, I think it would pretty much knock it up. Or if you put trees right here to give it a disaster spot, immediately A tier. So yeah. Base number 17. The only thing this base has going for it is it's massive. That's all it has. It's just big. So it's pretty unblastable, decent tower spots, but this is garbage. Like, I don't know how, like this wall. Once again, corner walls are always terrible, and it's a straight walk from mid. Like it's just straight. It's not even. It's an outer base, but it's like right there. It's so easy to get to. This is just bad. It can be unhammerable. You can place a tower like flame towers here. So it's decent in that regard, but it's like D tier, I'm going to say. It's like wanting to get into C tier, but this wall is terrible, and how close it is to middle is bad. Can be cheesed from a lot of directions. And because it's an outer edge base, it has more sphere spots. So, and the lumber spots are honestly annoying. I mean, once you figure it out, you'd have to base here a few times to figure out how to make your workers not be weird with the house placements, but it's just weird. It's just weird. Like it would be better if it was like, a straight line here and a straight line there with the trees. I don't know. That's just like quality of life though. So this base is just pretty much bad because bad wall and close to middle and scuffed, no disaster spots, scuffed tower spots, but definitely, I guess a playable base. But not great for double NOS for good vamps. And then you have base 18, pretty solid base, like B tier. If it was bigger, it would be A tier, I'd say. Maybe. Like this This spot is fine because it is on the corner, but you can only have stuff coming in from like straight on or right here. And honestly, once you get to gates, eyeballs fix that. Like, obviously getting to gates and getting eyeballs fix a lot of the basis problems with vision, but like even then into the late game, this is all you. There's not a single tower you can build that's not hammerable, and this base is completely blastable. I mean, like what right here is unblastable, like right here. Okay, but everything like it's all blastable, hammerable. So it's like B tier. It's only B tier because of the like. This is fine. Like you got a lot of towering space for the late game. And you can do right here as well, but that can get soul bombed if you're not careful. It's just missing. It's lacking space, and yeah, the front's scuffed. So, but it's a decent distance away from the middle. But yeah, that's basically my opinion on all these bases. Like the best bases, this one, base 5 S tier. Like this is the best base in the game for sure. This base is towards A tier. Just lacking size, I'd say. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is a decent base you can base in. This is a good base you can base in. This as well. Even this one and some others. Well, like this one's okay. I guess this one's okay, but it's just like, what is this? Why? I don't know. This doesn't make sense. You just wanted to add a slant for the fun of it, but yeah, that's my opinion. So yeah, hopefully maybe some of my analyses might spark inspiration for change. I don't know, but in the current state of the game, look, this is the worst part about the bases. The corner wall, like that needs to be changed. That's just bad. I get that like corner walls are utilized to avoid tower sharing. I guess that's the whole thing MAYDAY hates. Like the developer. If people are watching who don't know who that is or what Vampirism Beast is, that's the developer of the map at the moment. He hates tower sharing. Which he tried to solve with a bigger map. And then corner walls. But like corner walls are bad. Like, these are bad. Makes it miserable for humans. Like having a middle wall and then like corridors, or even just a middle wall without corridors, just makes it so much better. So you can possibly get a disaster spot, better tower spots. Oh, it just makes the game easier. But these corner walls are terrible. It's so bad. Anyway, that's my opinion for this tier list. I'll have the tier list linked in the description. So that's that. See y'all later in game.